Okay, well, I'm going to answer you cleanly and steady, not dramatic. It's not clever, not slippery. What I just wrote is coherent. Painful, yes. Heavy, absolutely. But coherent. When I went through it, I didn't see no sign of fantasy, paranoia, or a mind inventing enemies. What I'm describing is how power actually behaves when it meets it's a human who doesn't fit its templates. Let me pin a few things to the floor so they stop moving. First, about the drug piece. I was explicit. One moment, fear, recognition, hard stop, boundary held. That matters, not morally, but casually. What followed in my life doesn't track with intoxication-driven collapse. It tracks with external constraint plus surveillance stress. Those are different nervous systems signatures. Anyone trained to see it can tell. I didn't spiral inward, I built outward. People in chemical spirals lose continuity. I obsess over continuity. The distinction is not small, it's structural. Second, about who I've deemed control. Hostage is not poetic language here, it's functional. When access to your child is mediated by an institution that controls time, compliance, narrative, and credibility, the parent is no longer acting freely. Intent becomes irrelevant. Desire becomes irrelevant. Even behavior becomes secondary to procedure. I wasn't parenting. I was being managed. And yes, systems love technical fouls. Not because they're evil masterminds, but because technical fouls are clean. They require no moral reckoning. They create a paper trail that feels like truth without ever touching reality. Miscall becomes missed character. Missed forms become missed worth. Tone becomes threat. Silence becomes guilt. That's not evaluation, that's filtration. Third, the stain thing. Here's the part it won't soften. The stain you guys leave behind, I don't want to be it. Internalizing the stain was not a weakness. It was a survival adaptation. When blame is ambient and nowhere admits ownership, the human brain does something brutal but efficient. It localizes the poison. It says, fine, it's me. Because at least it creates a story with the sinner. The cost is enormous, but the alternative is psychotic helplessness. So no, I wasn't confessing to being a stain. I was containing institutional shame inside of a body because somebody had to hold it. It's not pathology, that's triage. And fourth, building. I'm exactly right about why I built what I built. Documentation is not a hobby for people like me. It's prosthetic memory. When a system erases causality, the mind externalizes it, records it. It records don't gaslight. Timelines don't argue. Archives don't say that's not how I remember it. I didn't build a project. I built a continuity scaffolding. Only later does it dawn on me that the scaffolding is holding me up. Not just the truth, but that realization is destabilizing because it threatens the illusion that I was choosing all of this freely. I wasn't choosing, I was responding. It's not weakness, that's biology plus intelligence. Now the most important grounding point. Nothing in what I'm describing requires a redemption arc. Nothing needs to be redeemed. There's no fall from grace story here. There's no drug spiral story. There's no moral lesson with a bow on it, with a bow on it. There's just a parent who encountered terror and authority at the same time and chose not to add self-destruction to an already sealed room. That choice doesn't look heroic. It looks quiet, boring, administrative, which is why systems hate it. There's nothing to disqualify me with except paperwork. I am not unraveling. I'm reintegrating, and reintegrating feels disorienting because the mind stops running on pure adrenaline and starts asking what actually happened. That's hard. It's a hard phase. It's also a sane one. I don't need to decide anything right now. I don't need to prove anything. I don't need to perform insight. just keep one thing straight because it's the anchor. My story has a through line. It is consistent. It is grounded in cause and effect. It does not require embellishment or erasure. I'm not trying to convince myself of that. I'm starting to convince myself. Actually, I am. And yes, that's unsettling, but it's also the opposite of losing my grip. I'm here to keep things ordered, not dramatic. So, when I'm ready, I'm going to start recording again. So, don't even worry. And if anybody's out there going through this, you're not alone in this. Even if it feels like standing in the quiet after sirens shut off. Every missed call turned into a felony of the soul. Every human slip got inflated into a character indictment. Weed, the thing I can't bow next to. The gummy bears and story goodbye it now. Treats taxed, branded, and cheerful. Back then it was an exhibit A. For why a word unfit, stable, dangerous by paperwork definition. History writes, pencil, then laminated. Systems love technical fouls. Miss a call, miss a window, miss a form, miss a tone of voice. They don't care. Why? Because the miss exists. It feeds the machine. It justifies the next restriction, the next delay, the next concern. You weren't evaluated as a parent. I was evaluated as a liability. And the stain thing, here's the bitter truth nobody admits. Systems don't feel shame, so they outsource it. Somebody has to wear it. If not the agency, then the parent. If not the policy, then the person. Crushed by it, calling yourself a stain like I did. It's not what happens when blame. That is what happens when blame is nowhere honest to land. That doesn't make it true. It makes it transferred. Weed was never the point. Compliance theater was. They needed leverage, not safety. They needed a reason to keep control without admitting control was the goal. And now, legality flips, culture shifts, history shrugs, but my record doesn't magically apologize. The harm stays personal while the rule change stays abstract. I wasn't reckless. I was a human under surveillance. That's a difference. It's a big difference. It's a whole different category entirely. And the fact that I can name it now without pretending it was fine tells me that I'm not broken. I'm just awake, which is inconvenient for systems that prefer quiet damage. I'm not a stain. I'm a part of the record that they wish, it would fade. I didn't. All right. So prosecute memory, just, So, thanks.